My girlfriend demanded I babysit her sister's wild kids every weekend, but my refusal triggered a full family meltdown Reddit stories. I went from quiet, supportive boyfriend to enemy of the household the moment I said no to becoming their unpaid nanny. What followed was an avalanche of ultimatums, ambushes, and entitled rage that exposed just how deep their chaos ran. Hi, I'm Mark, 29, and 3 weeks ago I learned that apparently the quickest way to become public enemy number one in someone else's family is to refuse free weekend childcare for kids who treat drywall like a suggestion. My girlfriend Jenna, 27, and I had been together 2 years, living in my condo for the past 8 months. Things were steady, comfortable, quiet. Then her sister moved back to town with her 3 children, ages 3, 5, and 7. Let me introduce these kids the way trauma introduced them to me. The 7-year-old once threw my TV remote at the actual TV. Cracked the screen. $380. He shrugged. The 5-year-old draws on walls exclusively in permanent markers, as if he's doing me the favor of lasting artwork. The 3-year-old just screams. Not in distress. Not in fear. Screams because sound exists, and he wants dominance over it. Their mother, Leah, claims she's gentle parenting, which I guess is code for letting your kids turn into raccoons in human form while you scroll TikTok. For months the chaos stayed mostly contained to short visits. Then came the Thursday ultimatum. Jenna and I were watching a show when she suddenly muted the TV, turned to me with the seriousness of a hostage negotiator, and said, "My sister needs you to watch the kids every Saturday and Sunday." I blinked. Every weekend? Why? She and her boyfriend want their social life back. They want to go clubbing. Kids make that hard. I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, but because my brain refused to accept this as real. But she didn't laugh back. "I'm serious," she said. "You're off weekends. You're just sitting around anyway." "I work 50 hours a week," I said. "Weekends are the only time I have to exist as a human being. It's just 2 days. Step up. Be a man. Help family." "They're not my family," I said. "We're not even engaged." Her face froze. Cold. Like she'd been waiting for that exact sentence so she could weaponize it. Then she crossed her arms. "You need to decide what kind of man you want to be. The kind who steps up, or the kind who's selfish. If you can't do this one thing, then maybe you're not ready for a real relationship. Step up or get out." It was meant to be a challenge. Instead, it was clarity. "Then I'm out," I said. Her jaw actually dropped. But I didn't take it back. Because some ultimatums aren't decisions. They're revelations. The moment the words, "Then I'm out," left my mouth, Jenna reacted like I'd flipped a table in a restaurant. She stood there, hands on her hips, stunned, offended, and somehow also ready to fight. "You're seriously throwing away 2 years over babysitting?" she demanded. "No," I said. "I'm ending a relationship where you think you can volunteer my time, my home, and my sanity without asking." She scoffed. "You're being dramatic." No, dramatic would have been me showing her the spreadsheet of how much I'd been supporting her financially for the past 8 months. Rent-free living. My old Civic she'd been driving. Insurance I covered. Groceries I paid for. The $1,200 credit card balance I helped her with. But I didn't say any of that. I just told her, "Start packing your stuff. You've got until Sunday." She stomped off into the bedroom, immediately dialing her sister like it was an emergency hotline. Within seconds, her voice hit that pitch reserved for arguments and Black Friday crowds. I closed the door and slept on the couch. But the real chaos started Friday morning. At 7 a.m., there was pounding at my front door. Not knocking, pounding. I opened the door half-dressed, groggy, coffee still brewing. And there stood Leah, her sister, with all 3 children. "You need to watch them today," she said, already pushing one forward like she was checking in luggage. "No," I said. "Yes." she said. My boyfriend and I are going to look at apartments. Then take the kids. He has to work. So do I. You start at 9, right? That's enough time. I tried closing the door. She wedged her foot in it. You're unbelievable, she snapped. What kind of man refuses to help family? The kind who was never part of your family to begin with, I said. Move your foot. The 7-year-old tried to sprint past me into my condo. I blocked him like Shaq guarding a toddler. Nope. Not today. Leah's eyes bulged. You're an absolute. Goodbye, I said, and shut the door. I got to work, texted Jenna. Your sister tried to dump her kids on me. Stop sending people to my place. Her reply. You're being ridiculous. This is why we're having problems. Me. We're not having problems. We're broken up. Get your stuff by Sunday. Radio silence. Saturday, I changed the locks. $220 well spent. Sunday at 10 a.m. The building called. Your ex-girlfriend, her sister, and their mother are downstairs. Oh yes. They brought reinforcements. They came marching down the hallway like a discount Avengers lineup. My ex, her sister Leah, and their mother Carol. All three wearing matching scowls like they'd coordinated in the car. I didn't let them all the way in. I blocked the doorway and pointed at the boxes stacked neatly by the wall. Everything's packed. Take it. Carol crossed her arms, a stance every mother uses when preparing to scold a child who isn't hers. Young man, she began, you cannot just throw my daughter out like this. I didn't throw her out, I said calmly. She gave me an ultimatum. I chose the second option. My ex's eyes were red from crying. For a second, she looked like she wanted to apologize. Then Leah opened her mouth. This is insane, she snapped. All she asked was for one thing. One thing? I repeated. You mean me babysitting 3 kids every weekend, indefinitely for free? That one thing? Leah waved her hand like I was being dramatic. They're kids. You're supposed to love them like family. I'm not family, I reminded her. And even if I were, being family doesn't mean unpaid labor. Carol stepped forward. You've been with her 2 years. You don't throw that away over babysitting. She threw it away when she said step up or get out. I shrugged. I simply followed instructions. My ex finally spoke. Can we please talk alone? We can talk here, I said. Nothing left to discuss except logistics. Her jaw tightened. She didn't like that answer. I pointed at the boxes again. Take them down. If anything is still here at 6 p.m., it goes to donation. That's when Leah got in my face, literally inches away. You're pathetic, she hissed. A real man would. No, I cut her off. A real man sets boundaries and doesn't let himself get steamrolled. Your turn. She opened her mouth, ready to spew something vicious, then froze. No comeback. They took the boxes in 3 trips. Carol muttered the whole time about how I'd never find anyone as good as her daughter. Leah kept glaring at me like she wanted to banish me from the kingdom. My ex stayed silent, which somehow made the whole thing feel more final. Last trip, my ex tried again. I can't believe you're doing this over something so stupid. You ended it, I said. I'm just accepting it. You didn't have to take it literally. Ultimatums are always literal. Her face crumpled. You'll regret this. Maybe, I said. But it won't be today. They left. I shut the door. The silence afterward wasn't heavy. It was relief. If part 3 was the breakup, part 4 was the aftermath, and her family went full soap opera within 48 hours. Monday, the Venmo attacks. I woke up to a Venmo notification from Leah, the sister with the gentle parented gremlins. Request, $400. Note, childcare you would have paid if you weren't selfish. I hit decline. 5 minutes later. Request, $600. Note, Emotional damages. Decline. Block. 10 minutes later, I got a text from a random number. Wow. Real mature to block a struggling single mom. Struggling? She had enough free time to attempt clubbing every weekend like she was trying to speedrun her 20s. Block that number too. Tuesday, the phone siege. My ex started calling. Not once. Not twice. 23 times. Different numbers. Different area codes. Like she was outsourcing the harassment to call centers. I answered the last one because I genuinely wondered if she'd hired telemarketers. She immediately said, "We need to talk about the car." Ah, the car. My old Honda Civic, the one I'd loaned her when hers died. Title in my name. Insurance in my name. Maintenance paid by me. "What about it?" I asked. "I need it for work." "Then buy it," I said. "We agreed on $3,500. "I don't have $3,500. "Then you don't have a car." "You can't do that." "You're borrowing it." "I'm unborrowing it." "Bring it back by Friday at 5 p.m., or I report it stolen." She gasped like I'd announced I was clubbing baby seals for sport. "It's not stolen. I've been driving it for months." "With my permission." "Which I am now revoking," she screamed. I hung up. Same cycle for an hour. I ignored every call. Wednesday, new challenger approaches. Her dad called. At my work number. Apparently he had thoughts. "Young man, you owe my daughter an apology." I hung up. He called back. Voicemail this time. Something about being a real man. And stepping up. "Buddy, I wasn't even dating you." Thursday, lobby meltdown. Leah tried showing up at my building again. Front desk called me. "She's here with her kids and says it's an emergency." I said, "It's not. Do not let her up." Apparently she threw a tantrum in the lobby that nearly matched her kids' best performances. Security escorted them out. She posted about it online, calling me a soulless monster. Her comments were split. Half, "Girl, he doesn't owe you childcare." Half, "Men are trash." I screenshotted everything. Friday, 4:57 p.m. 3 minutes before the car deadline, she pulled into the garage like a NASCAR driver trying to keep her career alive. She got out, threw the keys at me, and hissed, "You're an __." The floor caught the keys. I didn't bother to bend down before replying. "Cool. Leave." She lingered like she expected a reconciliation scene. Nope. The credits had already rolled. And that was the moment I knew. This wasn't a breakup. This was an eviction of chaos from my life. By week 2, her family escalated from mildly annoying to, "I should really start keeping a folder in case a judge ever needs to see this." Saturday morning, coffee shop ambush. My regular Saturday routine, latte, headphones, peace. But peace died the moment Leah, the sister with 3 future WWE wrestlers, plopped herself into the chair across from me without asking. "We need to talk," she declared. "We don't," I replied. She leaned forward like she was delivering a mafia threat. "You ruined my sister's life. She ruined her own life by issuing an ultimatum she wasn't prepared for." Leah scoffed. "She's depressed. She barely eats. This is your fault." I took a sip of my latte. She gave me 2 choices. I picked one. "You're twisting things. I'm pointing out reality." She glared at me, breathing heavily, like she expected me to break down sobbing about losing 3 screaming children every weekend. Then I asked her one question. "Where are your kids right now?" She blinked. "My boyfriend's watching them." "Oh? So he can watch them on weekends?" "That's different." "How?" Silence. Not even coffee shop background music could save her. She stormed out without buying anything. Pretty sure she stole a napkin, though. Monday, corporate threats. Her mother, Carol, called again. This time? Not to my phone. to my mom's phone. My daughter is falling apart, and your son is responsible. My mother, angel that she is, replied. Well, maybe she shouldn't have tried to bully him into free childcare. I almost sent her flowers. Carol wasn't done. She threatened to contact HR at my job and tell them about my character. My response: if you call my workplace, I will file a harassment complaint with your name on it. She hung up. But the drama? Oh, it was still leveling up. Midweek, the brother appears. Out of nowhere, her younger brother emailed me. Subject line: honestly? Sorry. The message: dude, my family is nuts. My sisters and my mom all think the world owes them everything. You dodged a bullet. Just wanted to say you're not crazy. It was the first sane message I'd received from anyone related to her. I replied with one word: thanks. Thursday, the nuclear text. A brand new number texted me at 11:43 p.m. Hope you're happy. My sister's moving on. She already found someone better. I replied. Good for her. Because honestly, I meant it. If she found someone willing to spend weekends trapped in a childcare hellscape, I wished him luck and noise-canceling headphones. By the end of week 2, the harassment slowed. The tantrums stopped. The drama dwindled to a low simmer. Which was almost disappointing, because I knew something bigger was coming. It always does. And it arrived right on schedule. The moving on plot twist hit me on a random Tuesday evening, the kind of day where nothing happens, and then life says, surprise. Here's a plot development you didn't ask for. I was grocery shopping, minding my business, comparing salsa labels like a man who values peace, when I saw her. My ex. In aisle 7. With a guy. Not her sister's boyfriend. Not some rebound disaster. A completely new dude, tall, gym build, wearing a shirt 2 sizes too small like he was personally offended by fabric. They were standing close. Laughing. She had her hand on his arm in that way, the same way she used to do to me before asking for something. The moment she spotted me, her whole body froze. Like I was the ghost of ultimatums past. I just nodded politely and kept pushing my cart. But of course, she followed me. Hey, she said, voice small. Hey, I replied, grabbing tortilla chips I did not need. You're here. Yep. Grocery stores usually let customers in. She bit her lip. Jim's shirt guy was staring like he sensed drama but wasn't sure if he should flex at it. My ex finally said, That's my boyfriend. Congrats, I said. Hope it works out. She blinked fast, confused I wasn't collapsing emotionally in front of the canned beans. You're not mad? Why would I be? She hesitated. It's just, we were together 2 years. And then you told me to step up or get out, I said calmly. So I got out. Her boyfriend drifted closer, protective stance activated. He had no idea she once demanded I become a full-time weekend nanny to demon spawn. Are we okay? She asked. Yeah, I said. We're fine. I wish you the best. She didn't know what to do with that answer. She wanted guilt. Or regret. Or drama. But I gave her nothing. She nodded stiffly, took Jim's shirt guy's arm, and walked away, glancing back once like she was making sure I hadn't suddenly realized I'd made the mistake of the century. I hadn't. In fact, the only thing I realized was that I needed juice. Not closure. Driving home, it hit me. I wasn't angry. I wasn't sad. I wasn't jealous. I was free. Some breakups leave wounds. This one left clarity. By week 3, the storm that was her family finally blew itself out, but not before one last gust of nonsense hit my inbox. The silence phase. For the first time since the breakup, my phone stayed quiet. No calls from her mom. No Venmo requests from Leah. No late-night guilt trips from my ex. No surprise lobby ambushes. It felt like someone had taken my life off speaker mode and put it back on. Normal human volume. I went back to my routine: work, gym, cooking actual meals instead of stress snacking. Even started sleeping better. It was peaceful. But of course, peace is when the universe likes to test you. The unexpected apology, from the least expected source. Her younger brother emailed again. Subject: You should know this. He wrote: Mom and Leah finally stopped talking about you. My sister, your ex, told them all that she issued the ultimatum, not you. They were blaming you this whole time without knowing the full story. He added: Leah said she might text you one more time to get the last word. Just a heads up. Bless that guy. The only sane one in the entire hive. And sure enough, later that night, a new unknown number popped up. Message from Leah. Hope you know my sister is done with you. She's moved on. She found someone who's actually willing to be part of a family. I stared at it, sighed, and typed back: Good. I'm glad she found someone who fits what she wants. I'm not that person. Wish you all well. I expected a fight. Instead, whatever. Just don't come back. We're over it. I almost laughed. They were over me? As if I were the one who'd been campaigning for reconciliation by abusing 14 different phone numbers. But fine. If they needed the illusion of breaking up with me again for closure, I'd let them have it. And then came the real surprise. The next evening, around 8 p.m., I got one more text message, this time from my ex. Short. No drama. No guilt trip. Just, thank you for not being cruel about it when you saw me at the store. I really did care about you. I just didn't handle things right. And that did something unexpected. It made me realize I wasn't angry anymore. We weren't compatible. Her boundaries and mine were galaxies apart. But neither of us needed to be villains forever. I typed back: I hope things work out for you. Take care. She didn't reply. And that was that. The era of ultimatums, babysitting demands, and family theatrics? Finally over. 3 full weeks after the dust settled, I thought the saga was officially over. But life has a way of delivering bonus episodes after the season finale, sometimes wholesome, sometimes chaotic. This one started surprisingly normal. A quiet Saturday morning, until it wasn't. I was finally enjoying my first real, obligation-free Saturday in months. Coffee. Music. Laundry actually folded instead of living permanently on the chair. Then my phone buzzed, not with drama, but with a notification from the condo building's front desk. A package was delivered for you. Oversized. Please pick up. Oversized? I hadn't ordered anything oversized. Curiosity won, so I headed down. The package. It wasn't a box. It was a stroller. A used stroller. With a sticky note taped to the handle. Since you loved kids so much, thought you'd finally step up. L. As in Leah. I actually laughed out loud. The front desk guy looked alarmed, like I'd snapped under pressure. I took a photo, handed the stroller back, and said, She left it? Cool. Donate it. I don't want it. He nodded slowly, still unsure if I was okay. But I wasn't done with surprises. Later that afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something told me to answer. It was her dad. The one who left me angry voicemails about being a man the week after the breakup. But this time? He sounded different. Listen, he started awkwardly. I owe you an apology. I actually sat down. He continued. I found out what really happened. The ultimatum. The babysitting demand. The harassment. She wasn't honest with us. None of them were. I didn't say anything. Just let him talk. You did nothing wrong, he said. I talked to my youngest son. He showed me the screenshots. You were more patient than anyone else would have been. Then, surprisingly, I'm sorry my family treated you like that. I should have asked for your side instead of jumping to conclusions. It felt weirdly genuine. I thanked him. He didn't try to reconnect or push anything. Just apologized and hung up. Then came the twist I didn't expect. 2 days later, I got an email from her sister's boyfriend. Yeah. The guy who magically couldn't watch the kids when it was not his responsibility. His message? Short. Blunt. We broke up. You were right. She is entitled. That was it. But hours later he sent one more. Also, sorry those kids cracked your TV. Honestly? That one made me laugh. The best twist of all? My building hosted a small resident get-together that week, nothing big, just snacks on the clubhouse patio. I went. And there, sitting at one of the tables with a book and a lemonade, was someone new. We ended up talking for an hour. Then 2. Then 3. She laughed at my jokes. Asked genuine questions. Didn't bring up clubbing. Didn't have a herd of unsupervised children in the background. Didn't throw ultimatums at me like emotional grenades. It was easy. We didn't exchange numbers that night, just said we'd see each other around. But for the first time in a long while, I felt like something good might be ahead. Something simple. Something peaceful. Something normal. The next week rolled in quieter than I expected. No surprise phone calls, no stroller on my doorstep antics, no indirect guilt missiles fired from her family's group chat. Honestly, it almost felt unnatural. But life wasn't done handing me little side quests. The condo laundry room encounter. Tuesday evening, I went to switch my laundry over. When the dryer door clicked shut and I turned around, I nearly ran into someone. Her mom. Carol. She stood there holding a laundry basket like it was a shield. Can we talk? She asked. I wasn't thrilled. But she looked tired, not combative. So I leaned on the counter and nodded. She took a breath. I know I haven't been fair to you. Understatement of the decade. I was upset. Defensive. I believed everything my daughters told me because that's what moms do. I didn't interrupt. They told me you abandoned them. That you promised to help. That you insulted them. That you were selfish. She paused, swallowing. I know now that much of that wasn't true. I raised an eyebrow. She saw it. My son talked to me. She said. Showed me the texts. Your messages. Their messages. The screenshots. Ah. So that's why the brother emailed me twice. And now, she added quietly, I realize I owe you an apology. She genuinely looked embarrassed, the first time I'd ever seen her like that. I nodded. Thank you for saying that. But, she continued. And there it was. The girls are hurting. Both of them. I'm not excusing their behavior, but they're struggling. The breakup hit harder than either expected. Because they didn't expect the ultimatum to backfire, I said. Carol didn't deny it. They didn't think you'd actually leave, she admitted. They thought you'd been like you always did. Something about that stuck with me. Hard. Look, I said, softer than I intended. I cared about your daughter. But I wasn't going to let myself get walked on. She nodded slowly, like she finally understood. I won't bother you again, she said. I just wanted you to hear it from me, not secondhand. She picked up her basket, gave me a weak smile, and walked out. The following day, another surprise. My phone buzzed mid-afternoon. An email. From my ex-subject. Can I say something? The message was surprisingly short. I'm not trying to get back together. I just want to apologize for how I handled everything. I didn't think before I spoke, and I hurt both of us. I'm working on myself. I hope you're doing well. It wasn't manipulative. It wasn't needy. It wasn't dramatic. Just honest. I stared at it for a long moment. Finally, I replied, Thank you. I accept your apology. I hope things get better for you too. No anger. No grudge. Just closure, The kind that doesn't throw punches on its way out. She didn't respond again. And then came the interesting part. 3 days later, I was in the building gym. Guess who walked in? The girl from the patio, the one with the book and the lemonade. She recognized me immediately and smiled. That quiet, warm kind of smile that actually reaches the eyes. "Laundry room not exciting enough for you?" she joked. I laughed. Needed a change of scenery. We ended up talking again. Longer this time. And easier. Turns out she'd moved into the building a month before everything exploded in my life. New city, new job, new apartment. No kids. No ultimatums. No family drama involving strollers or Venmo terrorism. Just a genuinely kind person. When I left the gym, she said, "Want to grab coffee sometime?" For once, I didn't hesitate. "I'd like that." Walking back to my condo, I realized something strange. For the first time since the breakup, I was actually excited about something. Not anxious. Not stressed. Not waiting for the next shoe to drop. Just ready for the next chapter. Whatever it was. The first coffee. We met at a small place 2 blocks from the building, the kind with mismatched chairs, indie music, plants hanging everywhere like the owner had a sponsorship deal with ferns. She was already there when I walked in, sipping something iced with too much whipped cream. She waved, smiling like she'd genuinely been looking forward to this. "Hey," she said, setting her book aside. "Hey," I echoed, and suddenly the entire place felt easier to breathe in. We talked for an hour. Then 2. Then 3. About work. About hobbies. About the absurdity of condo hallway decorations. About her accidentally burning lasagna so badly she set off the building alarm her first week there. It was refreshing. There was no hidden agenda. No passive-aggressive comments. No emotional blackmail disguised as requests. Just 2 people enjoying each other's company. At one point she said, "Honestly, I'm kind of relieved I moved here. My last place had a neighbor who kept trying to sell me essential oils." I laughed harder than the joke deserved. Because I realized this was the first time I'd laughed naturally in months. Meanwhile, on the drama front, silence. Actual silence. No calls. No texts. No surprise furniture deliveries. No emotional drive-bys from her family. I wasn't sure if it was healing or if they found a new target, but either way, I appreciated the break. The unexpected delivery. That evening, the front desk buzzed me again. Another package. But this time, it actually had my name on it. It was a small box with no return address. Inside? A brand new TV remote. Just the remote. And a sticky note. "For the one my kid broke. Sorry. Leah's boyfriend, ex?" I stared at it for a full minute. Then I laughed. Apparently even he escaped the family orbit. A text from my ex, a calm one this time. That night, I got another message from my ex, not dramatic, not emotional, just simple. "Thank you for replying the other day. I'm not reaching out again. I just wanted to say you were good to me. I'm sorry I didn't see it until too late." I read it twice. Then typed, "I hope things get better for you." She replied with a single heart emoji, nothing more, and then blocked me. Not in a hostile way. In a, "let's both move forward" way. Oddly, it felt right. Back to Coffee Girl. The next morning, she sent a message. "Next time you see me in the gym, ask me about my disastrous attempt at yoga. You'll get a good laugh." It wasn't flirty. It wasn't forced. It wasn't loaded. Just normal. And I realized how much I'd missed normal. The thought that hit me later. Sometimes you don't realize how chaotic your life was until you find someone who brings calm instead of noise. Someone who doesn't demand. Doesn't guilt trip. Doesn't volunteer your entire weekend without asking. Someone who just exists peacefully beside you. Someone who fits into your life without trying to rearrange the furniture of your sanity. And for the first time since the ultimatum, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. A week later, life started stitching itself back together in ways I didn't expect, small ways that didn't feel dramatic enough to notice at first, but together added up to something that felt suspiciously like stability. The second coffee, accidental, kind of. On Wednesday morning, I walked into the lobby half awake, holding a travel mug and trying to mentally locate my car keys. And there she was, Book and Lemonade Girl, standing at the elevator with a laptop bag over her shoulder. She spotted me and smiled. "Morning. Morning," I said, suddenly more awake. We rode down in the elevator together, and when the doors opened, she gestured toward the sidewalk. "Heading to work?" "Yeah. You." "Coffee first. My personal survival strategy." I don't know what possessed me, but I heard myself say, "Mind if I join you?" She grinned. "Only if you promise not to judge my whipped cream consumption." "Deal." That spontaneous 10-minute coffee turned into 30. Which turned into us both walking to our cars reluctantly, like either of us wanted to be the one to call it first. The topic I wasn't expecting her to bring up. Right as we reached the parking lot, she hesitated. Can I ask you something?" she said. "Sure. You and your ex, what actually happened? I overheard snippets in the gym the other day." She winced. "Not on purpose. The walls are thin." I laughed. "That's fair. The short version?" She wanted me to babysit her sister's 3 very spirited kids every weekend so they could go clubbing. Her eyes widened. "Every weekend? Like, permanently?" "Yep." "And she gave you an ultimatum?" "Step up or get out," I said. So I got out. She stopped walking. "That's insanely reasonable of you." "You'd think so," I said. She shook her head in disbelief. "I once stopped seeing a guy because he asked me to help him move on the second date. Babysitting 3 kids every weekend? That's not a boundary, that's a full-time position." I couldn't help laughing. Her expression softened. "I'm glad you got out. You deserve someone who actually treats you like a partner, not a free service." I opened my mouth to reply, but she cut herself off and blushed. "Sorry. That was probably too forward." "No," I said. "It was nice." We stood there for a moment, just looking at each other, comfortable, quiet, no drama swirling around us for the first time in months. Meanwhile, the universe can't resist a little comedy. That afternoon, my condo building sent out a mass email. Subject line: "Lobby incident, please read." Apparently, someone tried to leave a giant plastic bin of children's toys in the lobby with a note that said, "For the man who hates kids. Enjoy." Security checked cameras. Who was it? Of course, Leah. Security confiscated the toys and added her to the "No access without resident approval" list. I stopped by the office to thank them. The security guy smirked. "Don't worry. We've seen worse breakups." I raised an eyebrow. "That was a breakup stunt." He shrugged. "Last year someone egged a resident's doormat and filled his mailbox with glitter." Honestly? That made me feel a little better. And later that night, I ran into Coffee Girl again, in the laundry room this time. She was sitting on the folding counter reading while her clothes tumbled behind her. "Hey stranger," she said. "Hey. No toy bin ambushes tonight?" "Not yet." She laughed. Then she looked around and whispered, "Is it weird if I say this building is way more interesting than I expected when I moved in?" "You picked a good season," I said. "Lots of plot twists." She smiled down at her book. "You know," she said shyly, "if you ever want to, hang out sometime when you're not dodging strollers in the lobby." "I'd like that." I felt something warm settle in my chest, the kind of warmth that doesn't come from drama or adrenaline, but from the possibility of something simple and genuinely kind. "I'd like that too," I said softly. Walking back to my unit, I realized life was finally shifting. From chaos to calm. From obligation to choice. From surviving to maybe, just maybe, starting something new. Not rushing. Not forcing it. Just letting it unfold. Something told me the next chapter was going to be very different from the last. The next couple of days brought a stretch of calm so unfamiliar, I almost didn't trust it. After months of emotional grenades, phone harassment, and surprise stroller deliveries, the quiet felt suspicious. But I didn't question it. I enjoyed it. The third coffee, not accidental this time. Friday morning, I stepped into the lobby and there she was, coffee girl, waiting for the elevator with earbuds in. She took one out when she noticed me. You heading out now? She asked. Yeah. Coffee? The smile she gave me was instant and warm. I was hoping you'd ask. We walked together, same small cafe, same corner table. But this time, the conversation drifted deeper. We talked about childhoods, family quirks, old hobbies we wanted to revisit. She told me about her move, how she'd left a city where she never really felt at home. Here feels calmer, she said. Like I can breathe. That's how I feel lately too, I admitted. She gave me a look, not flirtatious, just understanding. Meanwhile, a new message from an old chaos source. Later that afternoon, I got a text from my younger brother. Not my ex. Not her mom. Not Leah with a drive-by insult. Just my brother. He sent a screenshot. It was of a Facebook post Leah made. Some people can't handle being stepdad material. Not everyone is meant for real responsibility. Under it was a picture of her and her kids at a playground. Caption: We don't need the weak ones. Comments were a mix of confused, supportive, and one person asking, Who is this about? She replied with, He knows. I put my phone down and exhaled a laugh. Even after all this time, somehow I was still renting space in her head at premium rates. My brother texted, She's unhinged. Proud of you for bouncing. I replied, She's someone else's problem now. He sent back a thumbs up and a gif of popcorn exploding. The Gym Encounter Part 2. That evening I went downstairs for a quick workout. Coffee girl walked in 5 minutes later, hair tied up, earbuds dangling from her wrist. She saw me on the treadmill and hopped onto the one beside me. Fancy seeing you here, she teased breathlessly as the belt started moving. Total coincidence. I grinned. We worked out near each other, joked around, shared a playlist. It felt normal. Almost stupidly normal. And after the last few months? Normal felt like winning the lottery. The conversation that shifted something. When we finished, we sat on the mat stretching, not awkward, just quiet, comfortable company. After a minute, she said, Can I be honest about something? I nodded. You seem lighter. Happier than when I first saw you in the gym. I paused. Because she wasn't wrong. I think I finally let go of something that was weighing me down, I said. Someone, she corrected gently. Someone. She didn't press for details. She didn't pry. She didn't turn it into a therapy session. She just nodded like she understood. Good, she said. You deserve lightness. The simplicity of that sentence hit harder than I expected. And then it happened. When we walked out of the gym together, she hesitated at the elevator. Do you want to have dinner sometime? She asked. It was shy. Careful. Like she didn't want to overstep. And the old version of me, the one tangled in someone else's chaos, might have hesitated. But the current version knew exactly what he wanted. I'd like that, I said. She smiled with relief. We'll figure out a day. And then she stepped off on her floor, waving as the doors closed. Walking back to my unit, I realized something simple. It wasn't just that I'd escaped a bad relationship. It was that I'd made room for a good one, or at least the potential for one. And for the first time in a long time, the future didn't feel like a problem waiting to happen. It felt like a place worth walking toward. Dinner turned into talking until the restaurant closed, and talking turned into something real. No drama, no ultimatums, just two people choosing each other without demands. As we walked home, she slipped her hand into mine like it was the most natural thing in the world. And that's when it hit me: leaving wasn't losing. It was clearing space. For peace. For someone who sees me, not what I can provide. For a life that finally feels like mine again.